Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Brenda Lee's podcast. So, for this episode today, I'm going to be talking about what happens to jealous people. That is just something that I'm curious to know the answer to and to find the answer to, just because in general, I just want to know like what is some of the causes to why people get jealous, what causes jealousy, like where does that come from? Just in general, like why do we live in a world full of a bunch of people that have a tendency to be so jealous of one another and to be jealous of other peers or to be jealous of certain people's lifestyles or how certain people are? Like, I could never begin to sit here and understand why that happens and why we live in a world full of a bunch of jealousy. I just do not get it. I know for me personally, I never really was the type of person to be jealous of somebody. I feel as though if I want to have something in life, I can work hard for it. I can put in the work for it. It is never no reason to be jealous of another person when you can have just as much as anybody else if you believe in working for it. That's really all it takes for all. But I feel like some people have a tendency to get lazy and they start lacking. They don't want to put in the work when it's supposed to be done, or they don't want to put in the work when it's needed, and they just feel the need to think that something's supposed to be handed to them sometimes, and that's not how life works. Unfortunately, we have to work for anything and everything we want. Just think about it. So let me get into that right now. Let's get deeper into this topic. So jealousy is a complex emotion triggered by a perceived threat to a valid relationship or status. It acts as a stressor, physical, triggering the nervous system, a fight or flight response, while driving physiological changes like insecurity, paranoia, and obsessive thinking. So let's talk about some of the physical effects of it first. So the fight or flight mode usually is like triggers sudden physical symptoms like a racing heart, tightening chest, or a drop in the stomach. I cannot stand that type of feeling when it's like a drop in your stomach. And you know that feeling when you feel it. And then the systemic stress, prolonged jealous, can increase stress, leading to tension and a general feeling of malice. Eroded self-esteem constantly leaves individuals focusing on what they lack, breeding deep insecurity and self-doubt. Yes, that's one of the biggest things that can cause a person to start having low self-esteem about themselves, is when you're constantly comparing your life to everyone else's life and you're comparing yourself to everyone else, and you just start feeling the need to think that other people are living better than you, or other people are, better than you are, or that their life is better than yours. Those are the start to develop. Those are the type of things you start thinking and believing in your mind and in your head. And it is not a healthy headspace to put yourself in, and it is not a good thing, nor is it healthy to be thinking like that or to be having those kind of thoughts coming across your mind. But you will start to think that way the more you continuously compare yourself to everyone else. That's why I always say is that it have to get to a point where you have to stop comparing yourself to everybody else. You have to realize that you are not everybody else. You are you. Your life is the way you make it to be, just like anybody else's life is the way they make it to be. Nobody is ever going to be the same, no matter how much we try. Nothing is never going to be the same for anybody. Your life is going to be the way it's going to be. You have to just take it as it is and just accept that. You can't be sitting around thinking or believing or feeling like if you compare yourself to everyone else, that's supposed to make a change or a difference to you or to your life, because it really don't. The only thing you really get out of that is a bunch of self-doubt, and you just constantly start criticizing everything about yourself in your life. And you don't want to be in that kind of headspace. You don't want to be that kind of person to be questioning everything about yourself. What is the point of that? What is the purpose of doing that? What are you really getting out of that? What is that really benefiting? And what is that really going to do for you in the long run, the more you continue to do so? And it do cause a person to definitely develop a lot of insecurity about themselves. It will cause you to have a lot of insecurity about yourself, to where you're not going to feel confident in who you are. You're not going to feel confident about what you're doing, how your life is, how you're living. And it leads to a lot of self. And once you start doubting yourself, it is hard to stop. Once you start doing it, it is really difficult to stop it. I'm letting you guys know this right now from experience because I'm a person that used to deal with self-doubt really bad. And sometimes I used to have self-doubt over the littlest things. Like I would literally have self-doubt over little stuff sometimes, stuff that wasn't even that big of a deal. Certain things that I would doubt myself about really was not worth doubting myself about, but I still would doubt myself about it anyway. And then I would realize later on that, you know what, this is not right for me to be doing this to myself. I should not be treating myself this way. I should not be doubting myself this way. I had to figure out what the problem was with me doing that. I had to think to myself that, you know what, this is not right. This is not okay. I shouldn't be doing this to myself. I should not be thinking like this towards myself. You're supposed to always feel good about yourself. You're supposed to always feel confident in yourself and who you are as a person. You should never have self-doubt. And you should never doubt yourself so much or so bad to the point where you don't feel good about who you are. But I promise you, the more you have doubts about yourself, it will get to that point and it will get that bad. And then obsessive thinking, which we all have a tendency to do sometimes too. It creates an intrusive, looping focus on the perceived threat, making it incredibly difficult to concentrate on daily tasks, which can be very difficult and hard to manage with. And it can be hard for a person to deal with that and to get through that. But just know that there's always ways and a way to get through it, absolutely. And then paranoia, extreme jealousy can cause a person to develop irrational subconscious and red malicious intent into others and harmless action as well. And then sometimes you'll see things where it will be like different types of behavioral changes within your actions and your behavior and how you do certain things. So, monitoring and sabotage compels people to obsessively check up on a partner, snoop through messages, or push others away as a subconscious. Yes, and then competitiveness, which they have a tendency to do a lot too, can lead to an overwhelming urge to outdo the person they are jealous of, simply to like you want to make yourself feel like you're better than them or you're above them. Like you're willing to do anything to make yourself feel like you're more than this other person that you're jealous of. Like you're trying to do all these things just to make yourself feel better or to make yourself feel like you're better than the other person. That's what people who are jealous do. They have these kind of traits. They have these kind of, behaviors of doing these kind of things and taking on these types of actions just to try to make themselves feel like they're better than the next. That's really all it is. And then resentment causes people to harbor ill will or find pleasure in the setbacks of others, ultimately shrinking their social circle. And, sometimes that can include loved ones too or people that they're close with. Yes. So in general, just to go over this overall, while a mild of dose of jealousy can simply remind you how much you value a connection, unchecked jealousy damages trust, kills relationships, and distorts reality. If these feelings start to control your actions or consume your thoughts, consider seeking support from a professional to develop healthy coping skills. Resources like physiology, today's therapy, um, it's so many different things that you can look into for that when you need that support or you're turning to that route where you feel as though you need to seek some kind of help to deal with this or to get through this kind of situation. There's so many different things that can help you to do so. So, yeah, the thing is that we need to understand is that jealousy does not do anything for anybody. You don't get nothing good out of being jealous of someone. It doesn't get you anywhere in life. It don't make you look or be better than anyone. Like, you have to think about it. If I walk around and be this jealous person and be jealous for every person or whoever, how does that make me look and how does that make me feel? Does that make you look better than the next person? Like, think about it. Really think about it. And another thing I'm going to tell you guys is that you're not in competition with nobody but yourself. And I always have said that. Because a person that's jealous of you will always look at you as a competition. They will always look at you and them as, oh, I have to compete. I have to try to be better than this person. I have to try to do something differently or do something better than this person. That's the thing we all have to realize. And a person of mind that's jealous, that's what they will always think. But you also have to know and realize for yourself that you're not in a competition with this person. If they want to think they're in a competition with you, let them sit in that and let them think that. That's their mind. They can feel free to think that all they want to. But you have to know for yourself, mostly importantly, is that you're not competing with nobody but yourself. You're literally in a competition with yourself. It's all about how much you're willing to push yourself in life to get as far as you're trying to get. That's really what it all comes down to. It's not about trying to compete with the next person, trying to make it to the finish line before the next person. No, we're not competing with nobody but ourselves when it comes to life. It's all about how much effort and work you're willing to put into your life to get yourself to where you're trying to be or to get yourself to where you want to be. That's what it's really about. We have to stop having the kind of mentality where we think that we're in this competition with every single person. We have to always compete with someone. We have the next person or be better than whoever. It's not about that. When it's about you living your life, living up to your dreams and doing what you want to do with your life and living your life to the fullest to make yourself be something in life, that's not what it's about at all. So get that kind of mindset and thought out of your mind because it's really not like that. And, you know, sometimes people who are, jealous, a lot of the time, I don't think it's just the fact that they are trying to always compete with somebody else or trying to compete with someone that they're jealous of. A lot of the time, I think it have a lot to do with their own inner problems that they're going through and dealing with. It's something that they see within themselves that they're not happy with, that they see in somebody else, and that's what makes them find a reason to be jealous of another person. That's what I truly believe. Like, it's something they're unhappy with. And I think a lot of the time, people are just unhappy with themselves. And instead of them trying to thrive, to do better, and to be a better, they just feel the need to just sit around and be jealous of people and think that that's supposed to change something for them. It doesn't change anything for you. It really don't. And here's another thing and some other signs that you need to pay attention to for when someone is secretly jealous of you. And I really want you guys to listen out as I share these because these are important. These are like 7 signs that I'm going to share with you guys for you to know when someone is secretly jealous of you. Because there are so many signs that be shown and revealed to us, but sometimes we don't pay attention to it or we just don't see it for what it is until it's too late or until something else happens. So 1, they go quiet whenever something good happens in your life instead of genuinely celebrating it. That's a definitely big one. If you do something great or you make some kind of achievement or some type of accomplishment in your life and they're not celebrating with you or cheering you on for what you've done, that's a big sign to know that someone's jealous of you or this person is jealous of you. That's to know that they're not happy for you. If they're not celebrating with you, they're not happy for you. They don't like to see that you're making this achievement and this accomplishment in your life and they're not. 2, they compliment you in a way that somehow still feels insulting underneath. And they will do that a lot. 3, they suddenly compete with things they never cared about before you succeeded at them. Yeah. Soon as you succeed at something, they will try to compare. They will try to compare and they will try to compete with you at what you already succeeded at. 4, they support your goals publicly but discourage them privately in small ways. Yes, they will definitely do that for sure. 5, they bring up your past mistakes right after you achieve something new, and that's not right. I've witnessed people doing that, and you're never supposed to do that. But like I said, we're speaking of jealous people here. They do things like this. It's so messed up and it's so wrong, and it kind of makes me side-eye jealous people so much. Like, why do you do these things? But we have to understand and come to the realization that jealous people are jealous for a reason, and they're going to point out all the things that it is that they're jealous of you about. And if they don't tell it to you with their words, they will show it with their actions for sure. 6, they copy parts of your personality, style, or ideas while acting like they don't notice, which is really weird and odd. And then 7, they act distant after your growth instead of growing alongside you. Yeah, and that's not cool. And that's how you know that they wasn't happy for you, they wasn't supportive, and that they wasn't all the way there for you. Because if they couldn't celebrate all your wins or any accomplishments or achievements you have made, that's how you know that they were jealous and unhappy all along. They were never happy for you, because jealous people do not like to see or to accept that somebody's doing better than them. They don't like to celebrate somebody else's wins. If it's not happening to them, they're not going to be happy for nobody else. They're not going to celebrate it if it's about somebody else, if it's not retaining to themselves. They can also be very inconsiderate, and they can be very selfish too. Like, they want it to be all about them and only about them, and when it's not, it's a problem. Yeah. There are so many signs in my life, and also from what God have revealed to me and shown me, that definitely opened my eyes up to realize and know for a fact that it was obvious that certain people around me and in my circle was jealous of me. And when I started picking up on that and thinking more about that to myself, that's when I started saying, like, you know what, certain people I really don't need to have around me at all. Certain people I really need to cut ties with for good, because they're not the kind of people and the kind of individuals that I thought that they were from the very beginning. And sometimes their actions would always show more than what their words would tell me. But, even by the things they would say and how they would treat me and certain things they would do at times would also come to show that they were not happy for me, or that they just didn't like me because they feel as though I was better than them, or they feel as though I was doing something better than them, or whatever reason they wanted to make it to be. But sometimes I feel like I was also able to pick up on it myself and just know for a fact that, you know what, this person's not happy. They may try to play it off like they're happy for me. They're my biggest, so supportive of me. They're all the way there for me. And it has been shown in so many different ways, by the things they say, the way they talk to me, how they act, how they behave towards me, how they talk about me to other people, how they talk with me and interact with me when they're speaking with me and other people and other peers. Like, there's been so many things and different things that's been shown to me that have helped me to understand that certain people were not really who I thought they were, and they just were not happy for me. And when all of that, came to me, and I picked up on it all, and I thought back to a lot of stuff that people would do and say to me, I was like, you know what? God's not going to tell me something if it's not right. He's not going to reveal something to me if it's not the truth, or if that's not what's really happening. He knows what was going on. And there were times where I wasn't paying close enough attention to what people were doing or what was happening here and there at certain moments. And I'm glad that God was able to push me in those directions where I've ignored certain things that I should have been paying very close attention to. Certain people that I should have kept my eye on the whole entire time, and I took my eyes off of them because I got too comfortable with them, or I became blinded by certain things they were doing, or I thought that certain things that they were doing was normal, or it was okay. And eventually, of course, later down the line throughout time, I was like, you know what, certain things that they did do or that they were doing was not okay. Of course, in the moment, you think that that's all right, but then you realize it wasn't okay at all. Like, it was nothing cool about it whatsoever, and that you deserve better and people should treat you better. And if people are not treating you better, then that's a problem. That's how you know that it has something to do with the people that's around you. And a lot of the times it do. And a lot of the time, the people around you be the main ones jealous of you. All right. That's all I have to say for this episode. Thank you so much for listening and tuning in with me, and I hope you learned something. And be sure to make sure you watch out for those that are not happy for you, because the same ones that are not happy for you, I guarantee you, those are the same ones that are jealous of you. Bye-bye.